Hi, so today I'm going to play Maybe I Don't Know by Jon Bellion. He has been releasing new music recently, which I'm very excited about. And I'm actually going to be playing an old song today because I do really love the new music. But because he's released the new music, I've also been listening to some of the old stuff. And Maybe I Don't Know is really resonating with me right now because it's just a really good reminder of you can't control everything. And sometimes the funnest part of the journey is not knowing. It may not feel like that at the time, but they always say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I think that this song is a really good reminder of that. So I just want to give it a try today and see how it goes. I was just doing a quick dry run through, but I'm going to try it with the music. It doesn't have overly difficult chord progressions, it's just got a couple different note changes. And I really like Jon Bellion because he is really great with production. So I'm not surprised that he put in a bunch of random chord progressions at all. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And, so we're going to play Maybe I Don't Know. Come along for the ride. Wait, hold on. Maybe I need the pedal. Hold on. I'm going to restart this and I'm going to try something. Because I don't know if it's just a matter of it's 4 beats of the same note or if it's one long note. Well, I do want to learn to play Jon's newer releases from the Father Figure album. I wanted to throw it back to the Human Condition album for this one. I've always found the Human Condition album to be aptly named because to me, the track list from it does truly embody a lot of the nuance of emotions and experience that comes with being a human. I also can't say enough that it truly is excellence in production and an overall masterpiece. A few episodes back, I was talking about going with the flow. I see this song, Maybe I Don't Know, as I missed that, but it's definitely better to do the 4 in the verse. Kind of the spiritual extension of that. Well, actually, I think that can be said for a lot of the album in general as well. But Maybe I Don't Know, to me, is more about letting go and letting God. Having faith and trust in the process and knowing whatever happens, happens. But it'll be okay. Like the song says, maybe I don't know, and maybe that's okay. I've worked really hard to try to balance that, too. It hasn't been easy for me, but I've definitely found the value in stepping back and evaluating and just taking a little bit of a breather and trying to acknowledge where there are gaps between where I am and where I want to be. Like they say, the power of attraction is knowing what you want and being okay without it. So it doesn't mean that you just dream it and it'll come. You do still have to put in some effort for it to come to fruition. But while you do that, you can take comfort in knowing that what is meant for you will make its way to you in divine timing when you have faith and reach that aligned vibration for it to come in. For me, this started as a pretty steep challenge. A lot of my anxiety has historically come from either not knowing or knowing and disregarding. Patience has never been one of my virtues, but I think that's why it's such a recurring theme in the character arc. Oh, no, I messed that up. Okay. Now, I don't know if this can be said for a lot of other people, but what I've struggled to understand is why, if we live in the information age, why everyone seems so confused. We are the most educated that we've ever been, so I'm wondering if it comes down to a level of discernment. We've become accustomed to having information at our fingertips, and in a lot of ways, it's really helped society advance. Since we've got so accustomed to this, though, I think some skills have been lost in how to deal with things we don't know. Unsettling feelings for sure, But the absolute number one and number two things required to rebuild these skills are internal reflection and engaging in dialogue with various perspectives, in my personal opinion. For me, I've found that that doesn't make everything seem so unsettling. It feels like taking steps in the right direction. How am I still ahead? It feels like it brings some of the humanity back into it. I also think, again, maybe just a personal opinion, that we've come to over associate not knowing with being unprepared. That doesn't have to be the case, but that's why it's important to broaden the perspective. If you can look at multiple potential scenarios, you'll be better equipped to handle the situation no matter what happens. You can't always control the outcome, but you can control how you react. As much as it sucks, especially in the moment, it definitely really is the only thing that you can control when you can't control anything else. I do have a theory, though, that a lot of current tension is feelings of internal conflict as situations change, because we've been looking at a lot of things as side versus side rather than spectrums of beliefs. Maybe I don't know. As I was doing my self-reflection and trying to overcome a lot of the fog in my own head, I was also overcoming a lot of the things I was previously afraid of, like really afraid of. I still had fears though, they just seemed less irrational than they used to. And I felt more equipped to overcome them. So I asked myself what I could do to make myself feel better about the situation. What would ease the anxiety? What did I feel I lacked? Even though in recent times things have been hard and none of the possibilities have been reasonably fathomable to even try to prepare for, having done the overall work on myself and letting go and letting God has given me much more confidence and peace in not knowing. Okay, well, it says 96, so that's better than I felt like I did. But I do like doing the verses with the four notes and then switching to like one note for the chorus. So I'm gonna run it back. There have been too many times where I've been completely alone and felt totally abandoned by everyone physically around me, while simultaneously feeling fully supported in the spiritual to believe otherwise. Run it. Further to that, it's always really interesting to see what comes out of a return to sender and from where. Spiritual protection helps act as a detection system so you know how to better prepare for the types of spiritual attacks being sent your way. Generally, if it's the same people sending stuff over and over, there is an area of focus they are targeting. At least if you can protect yourself in the 5D, you'll have more energy to think clearly in a 3D challenge. This will help lead to more positive outcomes for everyone involved. I don't think I've said this yet. I think it's super important to mention that that energy should be sent back with forgiveness. As I worked towards getting into more of a place of energetic alignment, I became much more okay with not knowing and more confident in my own skills at handling situations as they arose. I could just have faith in putting one foot in front of the other and telling myself everything is going to work out the way God and the universe wants it to, in the timing that it's supposed to be in. And along the way, there are lessons that I can learn. That doesn't mean things will never be hard. It means there are lessons in the hardship. At least that's what I tell myself, but people would argue that I'm delusional. And if you really need to reach for a positive quality in it, my default is always character building. Everything I've gone through has also helped me see the value in focusing on trying to become the best version of me despite the circumstances. Um, still, I'm doing okay with the verse going into the chorus, but then from the chorus going back into the verse, I'm still doing one note again. So I'm just working it out to get a little bit more flow. 2019 me is proud AF and in utter disbelief. 2019 me couldn't even comprehend having this level of composure in the face of pretty much all of her childhood fears come to life all at once. To be fair, though, it appears that most people I know can't comprehend it either. I'm not sure if it's just a me thing or just an in general thing, but TBD. I find I ask myself a lot about what's important, and though I'm not a danger to myself or others, I am faced with an imminent mortality. Just kept thinking about how I wanted to be remembered. I don't want to be remembered as a crazy, childless hermit, mostly because it's not really true. At least I'd like to think it's not true. But since it's looking like I'm on borrowed time already, my preference would be to be remembered as someone who always chose love and who tried to not leave anybody behind. That's a funny thing about life and the perspective it brings. I spent all these years thinking I was broken for not being a mom, and I felt like it was a huge flaw and a missing piece in my life until my life exploded pretty catastrophically. Okay, well, 1% better than last time, so baby steps. Then it became my reason. I know that sounds strange based on my other videos, but hear me out. Even though I'm not a mom, all I could think about was the kids who slip through the cracks. Who helps them? They're the most susceptible to the same kind of thing that I went through. And a lot of parents don't have capacity to think that deeply about kids that aren't their own. Sometimes it takes a forgotten kid to remember a forgotten kid. I had a lot of ingredients for success and what I thought was a good support system, and still almost fell through repeatedly over the years. What happens to the ones that don't even have that? I'm still not quite sure if the impact I've made is positive or it will even make a positive difference in the end. But I know for sure that because in that time I made so many positive changes to my own life, I was able to reflect that onto my surrounding environment. Whether any of it has been well received or not remains to be seen. But I'm no longer haunted by many things that I previously considered to be my failures. Because when the cycles came back around, I tried to do better. And when I stopped focusing on all of the things in the past that I didn't do and focused on the things that I could do in the present, it became easier to adapt to the present and think clearer of the future. It's definitely helped me approach situations with an improved level of calm and confidence. That's still feeling rough, but again, another percent better, so one more time. Time does heal as long as you don't sit and wallow too long in that negative space. Though definitely take time to grieve and remember healing isn't linear. Find a healthy, positive outlet and learn to have constructive conversations to foster positive personal growth. I'm not sure if it's just that I'm an inquisitive person, so I ask a lot of questions, but that's why I love open dialogue. But I honestly feel like the more you can do this, the faster you're able to become the best version of you and happy without harboring any resentment or hate or wishing ill will on other people, because you're focused on you and your development as a person and your own personal happiness without comparing to what's around you. Everyone's different and everyone's got a different purpose. I have this whole theory that if more people were confident in themselves and what they bring to the table, or if they were truly happy in their own lives, there would be much less focus on needing to tear others down. Look over there! Ah, it's a demon wench! Generally speaking, often what bothers us about others are the things that we think we lack or are too afraid to embrace. But we have to be comfortable in ourselves before expecting others to embrace us. And again, when I talk about self-confidence and authenticity, it's not about yelling at people to accept who you are. True confidence is being confident that you know who you are, regardless of what other people say. There are too many people committed to misunderstanding that it's better to conserve your energy to channel positively into things such as healthy creative expression, sports, and hobbies. And when you know yourself, you become much more confident in making decisions to the best of your ability through challenging times. From a place of discernment and composure, which helps attract a healthier outcome in the broader scope of things. Not knowing what's coming can be scary, but doesn't mean having to live in fear. Have faith, operate in love, and believe it will be okay. When you can reach a point of being able to make rational assessments and letting go and letting God, this will help raise your overall energetic vibration on multiple levels, allowing you to attract more toward your highest vibration, purpose, and good for all. I can understand how crazy a lot of this energetic stuff can sound. People are on different paths and stages of their journeys, beliefs can vary. But I'm also confident enough in myself to say that if you asked a bunch of the same people calling me crazy who their choice would be if they needed someone to overcome insurmountable odds, to tell you all of the honest reasons why it would be me. And it's taken me forever to finish this video because I didn't record the outro, but it is a fairly easy song to play. As you can see, I played it a little bit differently than I do normally, and it was pretty easy to play. I would recommend giving it a try. But thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep the peace and keep rocking on.